Welcome to the masterclass. Before we dive into any of the content, I'm just going to cover with you some of my top tips to outsmarting any illness and regaining your health back. So my first bit of advice to anybody is always see the bigger picture. Now, by seeing the bigger picture, what I mean is there's not just one single problem that needs to be addressed. Currently, any condition is always given one single label by the medical world. So, for example, it could be Crohn's, for autoimmune disorders, it could be Crohn's, colitis, lupus, MS. When we're referring to cancer, it could be breast cancer, lung cancer, and even when you're carrying excess weight, obesity is a label that they give the condition. But I prefer to look at any health-related matter as lots of smaller issues that need to be addressed and maintained. But to simplify things for now, let's put this one very big problem into two boxes. So the first problem that we need to address is a flaw within the immune response that's either causing the immune system to overreact. So that will be the case for any autoimmune disorder such as Crohn's or colitis, lupus, MS, or the flaw within the immune response is actually causing the immune system not react or respond in a quick enough time. So either way, it's neither is any good. So it's not very good. It's no good for our health if the immune system isn't responding quick enough, because that means that we are seriously compromised when it comes to if we catch any viruses or infections. The immune system is not going to react quick enough before the issue invades the healthy cells, and it's certainly not a good place to be if a cancer cell develops, because we rely on the immune system's responsiveness to identify that cell that's forgotten to die before and send the relevant signals before it gets out of hand and becomes a tumour that the body can't contain. And this is when we have to call upon things like chemotherapy and radiotherapy or surgery, because if the immune system is not in a position to address the problem on its own. So either way, it's not a good place to be. And some people would think that, well, surely it's a good thing for the immune system to overreact, and it's not at all. That the immune system only functions healthily when it's in a balanced and controlled state. If it's overreacting, that's no good at all, because yes, it's responding quickly, but it's not responding quickly in a controlled and responsible manner. It's a bit like I suppose it's running around like a headless chicken. So it's not reacting to any one problem in an efficient way. Whereas if the immune system's suppressed, again, that's no good either. So the best place we need our immune system to be is very, very controlled and modulated. The next problem that we need to look at is our inability to absorb sufficient nutrients and enzymes that are required for the body to perform to the best of its ability. Now, when I talk about enzymes, these are very, very different to vitamins and minerals, but are still found in a select number of food groups. It's these enzymes that are required to assist the body to perform some very important tasks every single day. So if there's any inflammation going on in the gut, this is going to impact our ability to absorb these specific enzymes, if we are in fact absorbing them, consuming them on a daily basis. Most people won't be consuming these very important enzymes into their diet, into the bloodstream on a consistent daily basis. Some people may be absorbing them in very small quantities by default, but it won't be a conscious thing that they're doing on a daily basis. And the body needs these specific enzymes every single day. And this is what I'm going to continue to teach you how to do throughout the tutorial. So the next bit of advice that I give anybody is always understand recovery is a shared responsibility. And the responsibility should be shared as follows. 50% should be with the medical profession, and the other 50% share remains firmly in our own hands. Now that's the case when it comes to the recovery or controlling any health related issue once we lose our health. When it comes to prevention, though, prevention, I'm afraid, is 100% in our own hands. We are solely responsible for that. And if we've got children, we're not only just responsible for our own preventative health, we have a moral and a legal responsibility as parents to take the right steps to protect our children's long-term health as well. Because every wrong decision we make as parents is weakening their foundations, and it's just increasing their risks of developing illness at some point in their lifetime, whether it's as a child or whether it's as an adult. What we do today will have an impact on that outcome. So this is why it is so important. 100% of that responsibility is with us. So it's down to us to learn what we need to learn and take the relevant steps. But when it comes to recovery, I'm afraid this is where a lot of people go very, very wrong. They instantly put all their hopes into the medical profession and just expect them to come up with a miracle to cure them as quickly as possible with the least amount of inconvenience to them. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. The drugs are only there to assist the body. They're there to essentially to buy the body time. It's the body that will cure you, not the drugs. The drugs are just there to buy the body time, to give it the breathing space to figure out what's gone wrong, identify the problem, and address it. That's all the drugs are there for. The drugs are not there to cure you. And this is where a lot of people go very, very wrong. Having that mindset is actually hindering their own recovery. It has to be a shared responsibility. So yes, that's something that I will be sort of stressing to you all the way through this tutorial is shared responsibility. Yes, medication is essential. Sometimes we need it to buy that breathing space. So for example, when it comes to cancer, the chemotherapy, for example, it actually sends a signal that the immune system is not able to do itself on its own, sends that signal to the cancer cell and instructs it to die, which is actually what the immune system should have been doing in the first place. But for whatever reason, it's not in a position to do so. But the problem with the chemotherapy is the chemotherapy can't identify, it just sends a blanket signal, but it's blanket instruction to all cells to die. It doesn't differentiate between a cancer cell and a healthy cell. So it naturally compromises the immune system. So this is why this shared responsibility is so important. What you do can badly during your recovery can seriously impact your treatment program. Because if you're damaging your cells, which when we go through the tutorial, further into the tutorial, you'll understand why I'm saying this. Everything you do today can damage your cells and compromise the immune system further. The treatment, unfortunately, has a knock-on effect to compromising the healthy cells. So you don't want to be compounding that issue, because you need very much the immune system to be on board with what the treatment's trying to do, which is why if we're going through cancer treatment, our diet and lifestyle has to be squeaky clean. You can't afford for any indiscrepancies at all when you're going through any treatment recovery process with any illness, particularly cancer. The same would apply to anybody who's on any immune suppressant medications for any autoimmune disorders. The clue's in the title. It suppresses the immune response. It can't do it in a controlled way, and this is why, if any of you are on any immune suppressants, they test your bloods quite regularly, and if they've dipped below a certain level, they'll either stop treatment, or they'll play about with your doses, or they may even put you on a different medication if it's compromising the body to such a great extent that you're more vulnerable than what you currently are. As I say, medication is a necessary evil. However, it does have this. They do have their downsides, and this is why the immune system has to be on board with what's going on. Okay, so that's key. Change your mindset. Totally change your mindset. My next bit of advice is always utilize what nature has given us. When diet and lifestyle is wrong, medicine is of absolutely no use to us at all. And when diet and lifestyle is correct, medicine is of no need. This is the only magic combination that will improve your condition long term. There's no shortcuts and no magic pill that will make the task any easier. And whatever improvements you do choose to engage in, it is very important that it is a consistent improvement. Flash in the pan gestures will only make your health worse. So that last 10-day, 7-day, 30-day, however many day detox you last engaged in has most likely made your current circumstances with your health worse than they were previously. Once we go further into the tutorial, you'll understand why I'm saying that. Welcome back to the tutorial. So detox and the immune system, how it all works and what has gone wrong. Now, I'm sure many of you have engaged in various types of detoxes or programs in an attempt to ease your symptoms or even achieve a desired result you're searching for. But what is detox exactly? Well, before I explain, first let's clear up what is not detox. Juicing, drinking detox tea, taking detox supplements, or any supplements for that matter, stopping carbohydrates for a set period of time, stopping sugar for a set period of time, stopping alcohol for a set period of time. None of these is detox. See, detox is not something you can switch on and off like a light switch. Detox is the job of your natural defense system. Detox is something our body performs every second or every minute of every day, and it's one of our body's most important jobs in its quest to protect our healthy cells from trauma and inflammation, as well as invasion of unwelcome visitors. So how does the body do this? Well, the body produces 3 very powerful antioxidants: SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. These are known as primary antioxidants and are very different to the secondary type we commonly think of. So the antioxidants come in 2 forms. You've got the primary internal antioxidants, which are essentially designed to stop cell damage in its tracks. You've got secondary dietary antioxidants, which are the ones you would normally think of. These will only ever slow cell damage down. They won't stop cell damage occurring, and the reason for it is because vitamins quickly get saturated through the body, so they just simply can't stop cell damage occurring. So let's look deeper into these primary antioxidants that the body produces itself. Your SOD. Well, SOD is known as the master of all the antioxidants, and it is by far the quickest off the mark to respond to any free radical invasion. SOD is your frontline defence, so to speak. I like to think of SOD as a bit of a sprinter, quick off the mark but rapidly becomes tired. And then you've got catalase. Well, catalase is much slower off the mark than SOD, but begins to respond as SOD begins to tire. Catalase kind of mops up the free radicals SOD can't attend to. It's our middle distance runner, slower to react than a sprinter, but not quite the stamina as a long distance runner has. And then finally, you've got glutathione peroxidase. This is our long distance or marathon runner. Lots of stamina to attend to free radicals for a longer period of time, but nowhere near as quick off the mark as SOD or catalase. Glutathione peroxidase essentially comes up behind catalase and mops up whatever catalase and SOD has left behind. So it is very much a team effort. Now let me explain our natural repair process. The presence of IGF-1 is essential for the growth and repair of any tissues, cells and organs. IGF-1 quite literally creates every cell throughout our whole body. When cells die or get damaged, IGF-1 regenerates fresh, healthy cells in their place. IGF-1 also works in synergy with protein to maintain and build lean muscle, which is an essential part of the fat metabolizing process. So what is the immune system? Well, the immune system is a network of cells and organs that work together to defend the body against infection, virus and illness. We have a built-in repair and defence system to ensure our immune system is not compromised by the devastation caused through poor choices in our everyday lives, as well as environmental factors that are out of our control. Healthy cell regeneration and the protection of those cells is critical if we are to maintain a healthy immune system that responds efficiently to threats such as viruses that are forever becoming more advanced and stronger as each year passes, but also to safeguard us from infection and identify and attend to cancer cells as and when they develop. So if the body does such a great job on its own, why do we get unwell or the body become unhealthy? Well, the answer to that is age. Age influences the amount of IGF-1 the body can constantly release, which hinders the cell regeneration process, resulting in our immune system and our fat metabolizing process being naturally compromised, as well as resulting in us healing and recovering much slower the older we get. Age also hinders our ability to naturally produce as much SOD and catalase enzyme, so increased cell damage is inevitable the older we get. Diet. Poor diet has many devastating effects on our overall health. It hinders our glutathione peroxide production, promotes insulin resistance, promotes nutrient deficiency, promotes inflammation and digestive problems, and increases oxidative stress. And then of course you've got the environmental factors. Pollution combined with poor diet and lifestyle choices means there's just too much bad stuff going in, and the body's repair and defence process simply can't keep up with the daily demands. All this collectively results in massive cell damage and inflammation. So what does all this mean for our current and long-term health? Well, first of all, the immune system is naturally hindered from attending to its main role within the body, which is to protect us from viruses, infection, and to identify cancer cells if or when they occur. The second thing is, when the immune system is in constant fight or flight mode, it can attack its own internal organs, resulting in more inflammation and trauma. Now, the third thing is, cell damage encourages cancer to develop, and inflammation encourages cancer to grow. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. You've got one thing that encourages cancer to develop, and the other thing encourages it to stay there and keep and grow and grow and grow. So it can get out of hand. The fourth reason is inflammation causes pancreas to release insulin. which causes yet another inflammatory response, which increases the development of obesity and type 2 diabetes. And finally, not only does inflammation, cell damage in the gut restrict the absorption of essential nutrients into the bloodstream, but low-grade inflammation in the digestive tract can lead to deficiencies in our digestive enzymes. So what does that mean? If we're not producing enough digestive enzymes, we essentially struggle to break down and digest the food that we eat all the time. If we're not breaking it down and digesting the food, we simply cannot absorb the nutrients into the bloodstream. So essentially the food that we eat, no matter how healthy the food is that we're eating, we're not benefiting nutritionally from that food. So what would categorise as low-grade inflammation? Well, something simple like IBS. IBS would be categorised as low-grade inflammation. Food allergies would be categorised as low-grade inflammation. And also, it doesn't have to be gut-related issues that can categorise as low-grade inflammation. Certain diet and lifestyle factors that you engage in, that you may be engaging on a daily basis, can result in low-grade inflammation. It's only that the body is containing the problem well enough that you're not presenting with symptoms. But sometimes it can come out as leaky gut syndrome, which again is low-grade inflammation, and actually it's perforations, small perforations in the wall of the bowel, the symptoms of leaky gut syndrome can actually come out as other things like skin reactions, sore joints. It can come out, yes, it can come out in other as other symptoms, not necessarily as gut-related issues, which is what you naturally relate leaky gut syndrome to. So yes, we'll cover more on the diet and lifestyle factors that can affect the condition of the gut in the next tutorial tomorrow. So if all that wasn't bad enough, once conditions get severe enough for chronic illness to occur, that again results in digestive enzyme problems. So chronic inflammation equals constant fight or flight response. That results in a constant impaired digestive enzyme problem, and that results in digestive problems and reduced nutritional absorption. So it really is a bit of a catch-22 situation where, you know, one problem leads to another problem, and it's just a spiraling effect then. So why is gut health so important? Well, the gut makes up 70% of the cells in our whole body, which means 70% of our immune system exists in the gut. So when things start to go wrong in the gut, in particular, the problem just spirals out of control and becomes a domino effect where one negative reaction in the body triggers another reaction. And the longer things are left unaddressed, the harder we have to work to pull the body back into alignment so we can benefit from the good health we all desperately long for. Now, the following conditions have two things in common: inflammatory bowel disease, cancer, obesity, arthritis, inflammatory skin disorders, which will be eczema, psoriasis, or dermatitis, lupus, MS, and even IBS and food allergies. They are all either directly or indirectly as a result of inflammation and cell damage, which means that if you suffer with one condition, you are instantly have an increased risk of developing another condition as well, just by the sheer fact that they are all closely related to inflammation and cell damage. But it's not all doom and gloom, I promise, because there is a way you can assist the body by making specific adjustments to your diet and lifestyle. Okay, so when we're looking at addressing this problem as a whole, we need to break it down into two parts. So the first thing we need to do is reduce the workload that the body has to attend to on a daily basis, and that's by looking at our own diet and lifestyle habits, and understanding how they are influencing the body in a negative way. The second thing we need to do is give the body the tools it needs to put out the internal flames and stop that secondary chain reaction off, that secondary that internal domino effect from continuing. So before we go into how we get the body working smarter, let's have a look at how we can reduce that workload so we can stop future cell damaging inflammation occurring. So these are broken down into three categories, like I've said. So they're broken down to lifestyle, diet, and environmental factors. Now, obviously, the environmental factors we have no control over whatsoever. But the diet and lifestyle factors we have got very much control over, and this is why we have to look at how we can reduce that workload, because regardless of how squeaky clean our diet and lifestyle is, our body still has things to contend with from the environmental factors every day. Now, in this tutorial, I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of the diet and lifestyle factors that do influence the body negatively. I do have more detailed tutorials that go into more detail, but in this tutorial, I'm just going to give you a very much an overview. So we're going to cover the lifestyle factors. So what comes under the category of lifestyle? Well, stress comes under that umbrella, and stress can come in lots of different forms. It can come as mental stress, physical stress, which would be categorised as excessive exercise. So if somebody is exercising every single day, they're not giving the body the time to recover. So again, that can put the body under immense stress, particularly if they're doing a lot of cardio for long periods of time. Surgery again puts the body under physical stress. That's why they will only ever engage in, they should only ever engage in surgery when it's absolutely necessary. Smoking not only puts the body under stress, but it also contributes to inflammation in the body and DNA cell damage. Alcohol contributes to inflammation and DNA cell damage massively. And this is the reason why so much media attention is being focused around alcohol, because of the degree of inflammation it causes, and the growing the increase in this problem growing as a whole in society. Caffeine, so this can be anything from energy drinks to coffee to tea to chocolate. All these things have caffeine in. So when caffeine raises your cortisol levels, same thing as the physical and mental stress, it's raising your cortisol levels, causing stress to the body, increasing the oxygen levels in the body, and that's contributing to oxidative stress, which is essentially DNA cell damage. Coffee and tea, these inflame the gut because they both have a substance in called tannin, so that does cause inflammation to the gut. Fizzy drinks, cordials, and shop-bought fresh juices. All these are the fizzy drinks cause irritation to the gut, so they cause inflammation. The cordials and shop-bought fresh juices, highly acidic, and they are going to cause inflammation to the gut again. Lack of quality sleep. This is something a lot of people fall into the trap of. If you recall, we covered previously how we release IGF-1 to repair and regenerate the cells throughout our whole body. Well, the majority of our IGF-1 is released when we are in REM sleep, when we're in deep sleep. So if we're not getting that quality sleep, we're not releasing enough IGF-1 hormone, our growth and repair hormone, to be able to heal the body. So that is going to contribute massively to the deterioration of our health. Parabens. Parabens have, there's 3 reasons why people should go paraben free. I mean, I know lots of people would like the idea of going paraben free and using 100% natural products, but quite often people don't really understand the true importance of it. And there's 3, just very briefly, there's 3 very good reasons why you should go paraben free. One reason is it can trigger a massive inflammatory response, quite severe inflammatory responses in some cases. Back in 2013, there was one particular paraben that was featured on Watchdog because of it was affecting more than 10% of the population, and the reactions were so severe, people were hospitalised. The inflammation was so severe internally, it restricted the airways, and some people nearly died. In fact, one of my clients was in hospital because her airways nearly closed up as well. So that's one reason why. Now that can happen with any paraben, and you could be fine with with a paraben today, and then tomorrow you could wake up and all of a sudden your immune system will decide to react against it. So, just because you're okay today doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case in the future, because your immune system can react differently at any stage. It's just when and if it identifies it's been invaded by something that shouldn't be there, and essentially the parabens shouldn't be there. The other reason is that irregardless of whether something says it is clinically proven to reverse the signs of aging or clinically proven to diminish lines and wrinkles, if it has a paraben in, all that is irrelevant, because if the paraben reacts with the UV rays, that will trigger DNA cell damage. So DNA cell damage is connected to the aging process, as well as the deterioration in our health as a whole. So that's 2 very good reasons to go paraben free. The third reason is again a bit of a grey area, but the suggestion that it can be linked to breast cancer, parabens, and the reason being is that parabens can mimic the hormone estrogen once it's absorbed into the body. So again, there's quite a bit of speculation around that, but something to be aware of. Okay, so let's look at the second elephant in the room, which is diet. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is sugar. Now again, this is something that's had a lot of media attention, and that's because sugar contributes to serious inflammation in the gut in particular. And the reason for this is that sugar causes the pancreas to release insulin. When we release insulin from the pancreas, that triggers inflammation in the body. When we've got inflammation, that triggers the pancreas to release yet more insulin. So it is literally a domino effect from the minute sugar enters the body. The other thing we're going to look at is simple carbohydrates. Now, although simple carbohydrates aren't directly sugar, because they cause the body to release the pancreas to release insulin, it has the exact same effect as eating sugar directly does on the body. Additionally, because simple carbohydrates aren't designed, the gut's not designed to break down simple carbohydrates. It's just simply never going to happen. So because it's processed very quickly through the body, it's hitting the gut solid, and because the gut's trying to break it down, it's causing additional irritation and inflammation there. So you've got two sorts of inflammation there that's being caused as a result of the simple carbohydrates. The pancreas releasing insulin, which is triggering an inflammatory response there, and vice versa, the inflammation causing the pancreas to release more insulin, and then it just comes backwards and forwards. But because the gut is trying desperately to break down these carbohydrates and can't, it's causing additional irritation and inflammation. And if there's already inflammation there, it's a bit like picking a scab off every single time. So the gut's never ever getting a chance to heal efficiently as a result of the gut constantly trying to break down something that it just can't break down. So that just compounds the problem even further. Now, that's not to say that complex carbohydrates, they still convert to insulin. But the difference is that because they're processed, because the digestive enzymes can start to break these down, they're still converting to insulin, but they're converting to insulin at a much slower rate. So it means that the hit of insulin to the body isn't as great all in one go as it is with the simple carbohydrates. So a controlled level of insulin being released throughout the day, particularly early on, the body has the opportunity to address any inflammation that's being caused. So the body is designed to deal with a small amount of inflammation at a controlled rate. Where it struggles is when it's got it's hit with lots of insulin and lots of inflammation all in one go. That's where it really, really struggles. So the next thing we're going to look at is acidic foods and drinks. Well, these directly cause inflammation to not just the gut, but to the whole digestive tract. So yeah. Protein. Most people don't have enough protein to meet the body's requirements, particularly when people are working out. Many people, particularly if they're wanting to lose weight or drop a few dress sizes, they don't up their protein levels. They'll, if anything, a lot of people will reduce their calories and reduce what they're eating, but up their activity levels, and that's not going to achieve the results that you want, because the body's not going to be able to repair and maintain and build the lean muscle, which is essential for improving the cellular metabolism. So the body does need protein to work in synergy with IGF-1 to repair the body. So the more active you are, the more protein the body needs. Again, this varies depending on for women and men, and your size as well. Fast foods and ready meals, well, these are essentially a simple carbohydrate with additional sugar added to them to improve the taste. They're also high in salt as well, so yeah, there's lots of reasons to avoid any fast foods and ready meals, and cook from scratch. So the final thing that contributes to inflammation and cell damage is, as we said, the very thing we have very, very little control over, and that's environmental factors. The pollution in the air, secondhand cigarette smoke, which I suppose we have to some extent control over, because we decide whether we stand next to somebody who chooses to smoke. And the oxygen we breathe. It is a bit of a double-edged sword, oxygen. We need it to survive, to live, for life. But too much oxygen in the body does rot the cells. A bit like when you cut an apple and it's exposed to the oxygen in the air, it begins to rot. Well, the exact same thing happens to the cells when the oxygen raises too much in the body. Okay, so a healing crisis occurs when the body develops an increased awareness of any toxins, imbalances, or impurities in the body. The more toxic or unbalanced the body is, the more severe your healing crisis will be. It's characterised as a temporary increase in symptoms. Such symptoms may be mild or severe depending on the degree of devastation the body has to face on a consistent basis. You may even begin to think that the diet or lifestyle change or new introduction may not be working or in fact making your health worse. These symptoms are in fact signs that the body is going through the process of cleaning itself of impurities, toxins, and imbalances. Symptoms of a healing crisis can occur immediately or within several days or several weeks even of you introducing any change to diet and lifestyle. And if you are suffering from any major illness, the symptoms you experience during the healing crisis may be similar to the disease itself. This may explain why there may appear to be a brief flare in a particular condition. These reactions are temporary though, so please try not to panic. Symptoms of a healing crisis can often be you may find you passing more water than usual. You may find you're sweating more than usual. Often people can develop changes in bowel movement or even vomit. You may even develop cold or flu-like symptoms. Experiencing any of these symptoms is an important part of the body's detoxification process because there is no other exit route for the toxins to be properly disposed of. So it's really, really important you stick it out. Other healing crisis symptoms can be you may feel tired or drained. This is often because the body is under stress or working harder to dispose of potential threats. Again, if this process is not followed correctly, it can also be as a result of deficiencies within the program that you're following. You may even find that you are feeling more hungrier than usual. This is usually an adjustment in metabolism. So again, it is very, very normal to feel hungry. Pain. You may even feel pain as the body's the way of recognizing something needs attention and healing. Cravings normally occurs when you withdraw from sugar or simple carbs, but it can also happen with other stimulants as well. There's also another list of other symptoms that you may present with. If you want to have a read through those, you can pause the video and have a read through those as well. Another important note though, withdrawing from alcohol or drugs when the body has received high quantities for a long period of time can be extremely dangerous and can cause the body to go into shock. So I urge anybody who may think they may have developed a problem with any of these, please consult your GP or consultant or counselling organisations such as Phoenix Futures, who will discuss a safe and manageable way to withdraw from such substances safely. And always consult your GP or consultant when withdrawing from any medications. It's very important when addressing any diet and lifestyle change, it be followed in a responsible and safe manner, so not to cause too much overwhelm on the body, which could potentially put the body into shock. So this can apply to, doesn't just apply to alcohol withdrawal or drugs or medication withdrawal. This same thing can apply to anything that the body can become dependent on. So the body can become dependent on caffeine, the body can become dependent on cigarettes, the body can become dependent on sugar. These are all things that can, if you withdraw from all of these altogether, and address all these things altogether, or multiple things altogether, shall I say, can cause huge overwhelm to the body because you're forcing it to have a newfound awareness of lots of imbalances and lots of impurities, and that's going to raise the stress levels, which is ultimately, if we refer back to our the beginning of the tutorial series where we covered cortisol. Cortisol is going to raise and could cause DNA cell damage. So that's not what we want to do. This is why it has to be a very controlled process. Additionally, the more severe your healing crisis is, the greater the risk of you giving up, which will mean all your hard work would have been in vain. And this is not the name of the game. The name of the game is to make consistent improvements to your lifestyle, so you're turning bad habits into consistent good habits. It's not how quickly you get to your destination. It's about getting to your destination and remaining on that right path, that correct path, moving forward. That's what's important, and you're only going to do that if you address any issues that need addressing in the correct way. Consistency is very important when engaging in any diet and lifestyle change. What I always say to anybody is, unless you intend something to be a consistent lifestyle change, don't bother doing it at all. There's no point in doing something for a week, a month, or however long you do it for, and then reverting back to your old habits. You may tell yourself that you're doing everything with all the great best intentions, but all you're actually doing is causing more harm than good. So unless you intend it to be a consistent lifestyle change, leave well alone. That's my advice. The body hates flash in the pan gestures. Okay, so slow and steady always wins a race. Okay, this is the reason why detoxes don't work, and this is the reason why most diets don't work, because they are most people are looking for a quick fix. They don't address the whole picture. They don't look at everything that needs addressing. So often it's a flash in the pan gesture, which is ultimately not only going to result in more damage to the body that you don't realise you're doing, but it's going to mean that the money you've spent and the time you've invested in that gesture to yourself has completely been in vain. Okay, so consistency is the most important thing here. Okay, and for those of you who are currently suffering with any chronic related health conditions, it is even more important. I can't stress this enough to you. It's even more important you address any diet and lifestyle issues responsibly, so not to make things worse than they already are. Okay. This is why I would like to invite you to take part in my 18-week Get Healthy Bootcamp. So what's included? You will get 6 structured and controlled challenges designed to ease the body through a controlled transition, turning bad habits into consistent good habits, whilst not causing overwhelm to the body. So challenge 1, we're going to start to look at how we can regulate our insulin levels. So the first thing we're going to address is controlling and regulating our sugar intake on a daily basis. So I'll guide you through what to look for on food labels. This is something you need to get into the habit of looking for, because there are certain things that manufacturers put on the labels to try and trick you into thinking it's a healthy option, when in actual fact it's not a healthy option. So I'm going to walk you through all those hidden obstacles in the sugar arena. Because again, I mean, if I'm in a rush and I just look very quickly at a label, I can be caught out, and before I know it, I've gone way over my sugar intake without even realising it. So it is something you really have to be aware of all the time. The second thing we're going to look at then is carbohydrates. So I'm going to show you how to switch your simple to complex carbs, There's also going to be shopping guides, particularly with carbohydrate, with the simple to complex carb alternatives. A lot of the complex carb alternatives aren't readily available in the supermarkets, although a lot of the supermarkets are getting a bit better. Still, there are a number of things that you can't get easily in the supermarkets. So I have a comprehensive resource to show you where to buy things online if they're not available on the high street. Challenge 3, we're going to start to address getting the body into a more alkaline state. Challenge 4, we're going to look at how we can rest the gut and accelerate the healing process within the gut. This is going to be broken up into 3 sections. So over a 21-day period, there'll be a different section for this challenge on a weekly basis. Challenge 5, we're going to start to look at protein and how we can improve our protein levels and lift these protein levels to better accommodate the body in terms of its requirements, depending on our activity levels and gender and things like that. Challenge 6, we're going to look at reducing the cortisol levels and looking at our any lifestyle issues that may be applicable to you. Now, each one of these challenges are going to be done over 21 days because they say it takes about 21 days to turn a bad habit into a consistent good habit. So I want to give you the best possible chance of addressing each challenge over that 21-day period for it to become a part of your daily routine before we move on to the next challenge. And as I just said, there's lots of resources and guides for you to refer to, and all the resources are in PDF form, so that you can, I know on my iPhone I can open up the PDF and actually save it to my iBooks. So if you're out and about, you can open up that on your phone and double check anything that you want there and then, which is absolutely amazing. There's also additional bonuses for you. I'm going to give you lifetime access to my VIP support group, where I'll be in there more than I should be, answering any questions that you have. So whether it be regarding a healing crisis symptom or a symptom regarding your condition, if you want any advice on that, I'll help you wherever I possibly can. Or even if it's just a double check on a particular food group or anything like that. You'll also get access to 2 additional workshops. Now, one of these workshops is going to be from a friend of mine who is a highly experienced NLP and EFT practitioner, and they're going to talk to you about management techniques and how you can use these techniques to better overcome any challenges you may come across with healing crisis symptoms or with symptoms regarding a particular condition, linked to a particular condition, or even just to, if you get overwhelmed by anything, they're going to give you management techniques that you can use throughout any area of your life, to be honest with you. It's just that obviously we're talking about health, but you can use these management techniques in any area of your life and you can adapt it accordingly. So you've got access to that workshop. I'm also going to give you another workshop from myself, which is going to help to improve your energy levels in the short term while we're addressing this nutritional deficiency issue. So we're going to address that as well. So if you're ready to start turning bad habits into consistent good habits, if you're ready to do what it takes to really achieve the good health you say you want, click the subscribe now button below this video and get immediate access to your first video workshop and all the details for your sugar challenge. Remember, the less daily battles we give the body as a whole, the more efficient it will serve us and keep us fit and healthy. And let's not forget, a healthy immune system is better equipped at tackling viruses, infection, and cancer cells head on if or when they develop. And that's something not one of us are immune to, unfortunately. We are all at a potential risk of catching a virus at any point, which are forever getting stronger and stronger as each year passes. And of course, if you develop any infections, particularly if you have any autoimmune disorders, infections are very common. If there's any inflammation, if you're in active disease. So again, you need your immune system to address that infection. And of course, as I've said previously, if you're currently going through cancer treatment, or whether you develop cancer in the future, a healthy immune system is what is going to get you through it. Your immune system very, very much, as I've said all the way through this tutorial, very much has to be on board with the treatment program. If my mum's immune system hadn't have been up to scratch, and her body being on board with the plan, she wouldn't have survived the 10-year battle she's had with the breast cancer in particular. So, if you're serious about shaping a more healthy and fulfilling future for you and your family, then this bootcamp is the perfect place to start. Click the subscribe now button below the video and I'll see you inside the bootcamp.